Hey everyone, welcome again. It is Claire from Strange Little Obsessions and Janine from Graeae Horror, and we are here to do a little interview before Strange Little Obsessions with Sean Courtney, and he will be with us in September to talk all things paranormal, haunted tours, and more. Um, Janine, over to you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. And hi, Sean. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Wonderful. And so obviously we know you as Sean Courtney, but for those eagle-eyed amongst us will also recognize you from Dust Till Sean.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm very excited. You can tell I'm a little bit giddy because I've never spoken to somebody who does paranormal investigations and things. So this is a completely new field for me. So forgive me if I go a little bit like too early. Maybe I'm being possessed. Who knows? So I wanted to start off with a nice, easy question, not broad at all. But when did your interest in the paranormal begin?
At a very young age, I was 8 year old. Now I'm neurodiverse. I've got like ADHD as well as dyslexia, which basically means that once I get interested in something, I'm like a dog without a bone. I'm literally on it all the time. And there was a little shadow figure in my room, and me being like any other little 8 year old kid, first person to wake up was my dad, who worked very, very long hours on a still fixing place. Who told me there was nothing in my room, and the only thing under my bed was going to be me if I keep disturbing him. Luckily, my mother decided to be a bit more sort of open-minded about the situation and just get me some Ghostbuster toys to make me feel a little bit better. So for me, the placebo was there. I wasn't afraid of anything. And I just started to ask questions. I started to say hello. And many, many nights went past. I kept seeing this little shadow figure, and I said hello. And then one evening I said hello, and it said hello back. And from there, I was hooked, absolutely hooked. I started to read books about the paranormal. My interest led on to every sort of anything spooky or weird or anything like that. I was that kid in the corner at school. Everybody else was collecting the football stickers. I was finding out what a poltergeist did or why Bram Stoker wrote Dracula, etc. And that's really where it began at such as an early age.
Oh wow, my goodness, what an experience as well as a youth. Like that's
Yeah.
terrifying. Was there a moment that you think there's something out there beyond that childhood experience? Have you had a moment through your investigations where you've really thought actually there's more than?
Yeah, I think with every paranormal investigator, you have that first sort of guaranteed that unexplained moment where you can't sort of put it down to maybe having cheese before you go to bed or too much sugar during the day one time. And I was with a friend of mine, and we decided that we'd go and look at this abandoned warehouse, and we had the basic of equipment. At this time I was just basically starting out, and anything that I could get my hands on I'd pick up. We were standing there, we was asking the questions that you normally see on the TV, like if there's anybody here that'd like to interact with us, that sort of thing. At that time it was a vet filled in from the Most Haunted that I was watching quite a lot of. And this door just closed on its own. We was in the room at the time when it closed, and the door was it was a steel door, so there was no wind, there was no nothing, and it closed. And I think you have a moment as a paranormal investigator where you go, okay, do I really want to find out more about this stuff, or is that it for me? No, for my friend, that was it. He didn't want to do anything more. But for me, it just intrigued me more. I wanted to understand where that energy came from. I wanted to understand why they are still here, why they're lingering around. And then, it's a case of anything else. You ask too many questions, you're going to get the answers whether you want them or not. And it just grew from there. But that first sort of, I'm old enough to make my own decision. I completely understand what's going on. That door couldn't have closed on its own. There's no one behind it. Really did open up my eyes to a whole different world of adventures and knowledge seeking.
And what was the experience like getting into paranormal investigations? How does one start doing that?
I think really, I would say start off with being a little bit more cautious and open-minded. I find being in a place that's haunted, you're probably best not being on your own. Normally they're not in great nick, and you need to be careful about your environment, make sure that you're safe as well. But for me, it was just a case of reading the right books, watching the right sort of documentaries and TV shows that are out there. and just really sort of like understanding how to communicate. There's things that you stay away from. There's things that you be careful with. You know, people will tell you to stay away from spirit boards, Ouija boards, that sort of thing. Unless you know, then you're probably better off staying away from it. But for me, the very first piece of equipment that I used was the dowsing rods.
Oh yeah.
And you look at for sort of a conversation that can be quite easily understood. So you're looking for a conversation that is not yes and no answers sort of thing. So what we do is we get the dowsing rods to cross for yes and uncross for no. Now what I started to do with the dowsing rods was go, okay, yes, no, no. Then I asked a silly question, which was really silly of me. I asked the question, you know, if can you point to where you are, and they either point to the side, or they point this way, they point forward. Well, this time it pointed behind me, and I was wearing a T-shirt that says "It's behind me, isn't it?" So that was quite hilarious as well.
They were playing with you.
They were playing with me, absolutely. But when you get those intelligent conversations coming back, I then got my my EMF, my electronic magnetic field, and I started walking around with that. And then the REM pod came in. I've got a little teddy bear REM pod as well, which we put out sometimes if we're going to places where there's been laughter or tiny footprints or what seems to be a spirit of a young child. And again, do your research on the place. Make sure that what you're looking for is you're looking for solid proof. You're looking for something that's more, not just the REM pod just flashing for no reason. Ask questions, see if they can interact with the equipment. But best thing to start off with is dowsing rods. Is a safe, old school way of doing some ghost hunting and asking questions.
Oh wow! And what's the strangest thing you've ever experienced in your investigations?
The strangest thing I've ever experienced in my investigations. Wow. So I've been through a few places. I've been to East Drive in Pontefract. I've been all over just trying to find out more and more about this paranormal world. But the strangest thing I've ever dealt with was where we are now, which is my house. I've got a little dog. The dog's called Boo. I called him Boo because he's a white dog, and I'm a paranormal investigator. So what else are you going to call your dog? And I've got these little cat balls, and we put them around the house. And we're convinced that there's a little girl ghost that sort of is haunting this property, because we can hear from time to time just a little giggle and a little laugh. And Boo was just laying on the floor doing his thing. And next thing I know, he's rolling on his back and he's waggling his tail and he's doing this. So we get the SLS camera out, and it looks as if there's a stick figure rubbing his belly. And we can put that down to a lot of things. We just then have to scan the area again just to make sure it's not picking up the same thing. We couldn't pick up the same thing. And the cat ball was flashing and giving us some intelligent conversation. The next thing, the cat ball rolled. And Boo went and got the cat ball and put it back. And it rolled again. Then Boo got it, put it back. So she was actually playing with the dog, which is absolutely amazing to have that sort of interaction. And we're used to her. She comes around. Sometimes she'll giggle or she'll set the kids' toys off. There's a pram that my daughter had from a very, very young girl, little old school sort of I guess Silver Cross type replica pram, and we don't get rid of that because sometimes we can hear her squeaking it and rolling it and stuff, so we leave it with us. So my strangest event is my haunted.
I don't know how I feel about that. That's just, I see Janine's face go as well, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, no kids, I'm out, man. No, thank you. I'm good.
Yeah, no, honestly, genuinely, living in a house that we know is haunted is for a paranormal investigator exciting, because if it's there and you can just continue to talk to it. We're very careful, we're very respectful, but it's there and it's awesome.
Oh. And have you ever had a moment where it got too much and you thought, nope, I'm out?
Yes, actually I have. Yeah, that was weird. I'm currently writing a book called the Diary of a Dumbass Ghost Hunter, which is basically genuinely everything I did wrong as I just started going out. And yeah, well, there's a couple of rules. So first of all, the first rule of a Ouija board is never do it on your own. The second rule of a Ouija board is never do it in a graveyard. So can you see where this story is going to go?
Yeah.
Yep.
First of all, I was 18. Okay, and there were no pictures on this rule book, so why was I going to read it? Yeah. Secondly, it just seemed like I put this little bit of wood onto this little bit of wood and ask a few questions. How hard can it be? Anyway, I got some interaction. It was moving around, and it was doing what it was doing. And in the corner of my my right ear at the time, I heard "get out." I left everything,
What?
and I ran. Look, I was a lot thinner back then, by the way, so I could run. I'd roll now the way I am at the moment, but I ran as fast as I could all the way home, and I never told anybody. But the next day when I woke up and I got in the shower, there was burning on my back, and I had 3 scratches on my back.
What? No.
Yeah, 3 scratches on my back. So then I did a bit of research, and I found out that there are things that sort of like look after the spirits that are laid to rest, and the rest in peace actually does mean making sure that they are resting and they're doing what they need to do and they're going where they want to go, and if they're here still, it's about being respectful. So I then realized I had to go back and apologize because I was getting sort of horrible dreams, I was getting all kinds of stuff, and I went back and I apologized. I don't know where the board went because the board wasn't there, so I don't know if the guys that deal with it moved it, but I did apologize, and I then started to learn my trade a bit better.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's quite an experience. My goodness.
Yeah.
And where's this creepiest location that you've visited or investigated?
The creepiest locations are normally the locations you're not actually allowed to be at. And for me, the creepiest location would have been St. Catherine's, either St. Catherine's Hospice in Doncaster. There was a ghost walk there, and I decided to leave the ghost walk and go to other areas. And I was just asking questions and doing what you would normally do. And a bed that one of the patients would have been on just moved really, really aggressively. And again, I apologized, walked, and said I'm going to join the group again, and left. And then there was the Doncaster Royal Infirmary have a very, very tight little basement that the nurses have to work through to get, bedding and stuff. And I heard about that being haunted. So one night I snuck in and started asking questions, and I got pushed and scratched there. So I left there again after an apology.
Yep, that will do it.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
For more, like, I think I'd be out. As much as I love, I do believe in that kind of stuff, and there is more than us. And I've had my own experiences, but I think I wouldn't put myself back in that situation. So
I think
hats off to you.
Thank you. I think with paranormal investigation, what I've learned is imagine that when you go into an investigation, go armed with the knowledge of the location, how to get in, how to get out, never go alone if it's somewhere that's a little bit derelict, and act as if you was walking into a retirement home full of war veterans. You're going to be polite, you're going to ask questions, you're going to ask if it's okay, and remember that what is made for TV sometimes has to be sort of dramatic. So sometimes they will do things that they're not supposed to, which is kind of tease a spirit to get them to do something, or set a spirit off to get them to do something. And that can be a good thing, but it can turn out to be a bad thing, not necessarily for the person that's shouting them out, but maybe somebody in your team that isn't as strong at pushing them away, etc. So I now go in with a lot of respect. I go and say, look, okay, I'm here. I'm going to do an investigation. I would love to talk to you. I don't mean any harm. And again, making sure that I make it very clear that they are here. They need to stay here. They can't follow me home, which are things I haven't done before, and had things follow me home at my mum and dad's house, which was awesome. They loved that.
That's wild. And have you ever captured something you still can't explain?
Loads of times, yeah. I mean, I've captured doors closing. I captured the ball rolling where Boo was playing with it. I've got dark figures. I've come up with intelligent orbs. I say intelligent orbs because orbs can be discarded. You can think of there's no look at that orb, etc. It could be a morph. It could be a dust particle. I know different paranormal investigators will tell you that sort of thing. But for me, intelligent orbs are ones that are doing something. So they can go through, they can go through like a stool, or they'll sit on a stool, or it'll do something that you might have done if you when you was in this sort of plane. But I think the biggest thing I did was when I think it's going to be in my book as well, where I started to if you want to know if your place is haunted, just get a recorder, tape recorder, digital recorder, and just press record. And I did that at my last office where I worked, and played it back, and we got some conversations, we got Get Out, we got some really, really interesting sort of EVPs on there, and it was interesting just to get that electronic voice phenomena come through where there wasn't anybody there. It was shut down. There's no security guard. It's locked till the morning. So to have voices on that tape was absolutely amazing.
And what's the biggest misconception, do you think, about paranormal investigations?
The biggest misconception, I think really for me, it's sort of understanding that everything that we do as paranormal investigation is genuinely the science of it. And a lot of people think it's very woo-woo, and a lot of people don't necessarily. It's about being open-minded for me. It's about realizing that there's more to this world than meets the eye, and it's that sort of thing. And I think a lot of people believe that somebody came up with the REM pod. That was man-made or woman-made. It was made, you know what I mean? But its function is different in the locations that we use it. An EMF, electronic magnetic field device, is there to pick up problems with with electronic magnetic fields in the atmosphere and in buildings, etc. But it shouldn't flash. It should be a solid light. So it's understanding that we use these tools and we understand these tools to say, well, why is it working now? When I ask a question, why is it continuing to work what I want it to? If I ask it to go to red, it goes to red. If I ask it to go to amber, it goes to amber. It doesn't work like that in its normal function. So being open-minded and understanding that we're just there to either not necessarily gather the biggest fame in the world of going, I've got, the ghost on camera, but to prove that there's something there, and people are more open-minded about what we did and understand that there's a science involved behind it, that it's something that could be absolutely life-changing for many, many people.
No, definitely. And what do you find scares you more, ghosts or people?
Wow, I'd say people. This is the very first thing I've ever done, sort of, where I'll be talking to a group of people as a, ask me questions, I'll give you answers when I go on stage. So it'll be something that I've never done before, and people, they're there. Whereas when you're looking for ghosts, you have the option to walk away. You have the option to sort of like step back from it. I've never really been scared of anything I've walked into, whether it's been elemental, which is sort of demonic, etc., or it felt demonic, or whether it's been something a little bit more playful or residual, that sort of thing. I've never really been scared of, because I've got the knowledge, I've read the books, I've done the research, I understand what it means. So yeah, I'd say people.
Well, yeah, people can be scary, man. People are unpredictable.
100%.
Yeah. And how did From Dusk Till Sean begin? How did you take the premise and something you're really passionate about and really interested in into an online platform?
Well, Dusk Till Sean started as a podcast during lockdown, because when I worked for my brother, a company called Be More Social. I was a social media sales BDM for him, and I used to talk about paranormal all the time, and he had a podcast room, and he was like, well, why don't you just go and do a podcast, because then you can stop talking to me about it. And that's basically what happened. I took one of his chaps, a lovely guy called Ben, who knew how to put the equipment. And I said, well, do you want to be on it as well? And he went, why not? He was a complete skeptic, does not believe in anything whatsoever. And the idea of the podcast was just to, by the end of it, ask him on a scale of 1 to 10, or whether or not he believed in what we spoke about based on the information that I gave him. And he turned into that sort of thing. It was really making sure that people realize that the paranormal is not nothing to be scared of. It's just something to discuss and understand that it's just another subject that's out there that if you're interested in, you can come and have a listen.
Yeah, it's quite interesting having the dynamic of a skeptic and a believer, and to see how that plays out. It's quite fun. And who's been your favourite guest, or what's been your favourite conversation to date?
Oh wow. I think my favorite one was we did one called The Werewolf of Wall Street. We had little comedy names for him. I think that's probably one of my favorite ones because we spoke about the Beast of Bray Lane, etc. Boom Poltergeist was amazing because poltergeist make noises. And then we discussed a lot of things about Robert Johnson and the 27 Club, about, these people that found stardom out of nowhere, only lived for 10 years, passed away at 27, and was there a crossroad demonic deal made at that time? So they're my three favorite ones.
That's really interesting, especially about the 27 Club. That's something as a music fan has always kind of got me, especially at that age of growing up and then seeing the Kurt Cobains and things who shaped a childhood of mine. It's quite hits a nerve. And why do you think people connect so strongly with spooky stories?
Do you know what? I think fear is an aphrodisiac. I think it's just something that, I used to remember watching the Hammer horror shows with my dad's late night when, Christopher Lee coming down as Dracula and absolutely, scared to death. But it's that feeling that you can't get anywhere else. I think it sort of helps people to understand more about themselves. I call it my Spidey sense because my little kids love Spider-Man. I'm a Batman fan myself, so a little bit upset about that. But
right. They can't all be right.
You know what I mean? There's it's your tingling, it's your senses. You know when it's a time to sort of like walk away, if a conversation's not going well, or if you feel a little bit nervous. It's something that is there to protect you. And I've just learned to embrace my fear, and I think that's one of the things I think horror movies do. They just help you to just take you somewhere that you probably wouldn't want to be in person, but you definitely want to be there watching the screen.
Definitely. And is there an experience you can recall that you've taken away from someone else's experience? Anything you've learned from someone else?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a great guy who runs he works in the paranormal research and teach shop I think it's in Nottingham somewhere. But he's a lovely.
Curiosities.
I think it is, yes.
Yeah.
A gentleman called Barry. He's a lovely chap, and he got into the paranormal quite Victorian style. He doesn't use any modern gadgets, etc. And I think some of his stories talking about Doncaster helped me to continue with the ghost walk. I found out about a young man who got a little bit tipsy one night, and he was on his way home, and he could smell horse manure. He didn't understand why he could smell horse manure, but then he just assumed that it might be one of the police people that ride the horses because he could hear the hooves, etc. The next thing he hears is a loud dash of this coach and horses just driving past him, and he literally steps back, looks round, and there's nothing there. Later on, he hears a scream at the end of the road. This is on a road called Scott Lane in Doncaster. And unfortunately, there's still nobody there. So he gets a bit scared and jumps into a taxi as quick as he can, goes home and explains it to his wife. After doing a little bit of research, he realizes that there was a coach accident back in the 1800s where a young lady crossing the road looking to do some work with the local market got hit and killed by a coach and horses. And that was residual haunting for the first time that he actually realized that it's just that continuously playing. So how many times that poor girl goes through that as a spirit, it's absolutely amazing. And he told me this story and then introduced me to the gentleman who saw it and who felt it. And it was amazing to see because this guy had no belief in the paranormal at all.
Wow. My goodness, yeah, that must be quite the experience if you've never experienced it before. And what is it for you that makes the horror and paranormal community so special?
I don't think you'll find a community as welcoming. And that sounds really weird, isn't it? It's not like saying, we're all dressed as vampires covering our face with capes and go, come in, come in.
Not today.
Would happily do it though.
But a lot of communities are sort of like, sometimes they're close-minded, they're kind of tight-knitted, etc. I find the paranormal community and the horror community very welcoming. Anybody of any sort of genre is sort of welcome and accepted, and the conversation flows. There's never sort of a expectation. It's just a love of an experience, a love of a genre, and just a coming together of people that have the same sort of interests, and anyone's welcome. Even if it's your first time thinking, I'm going to tiptoe through the graveyard when it comes to this horror business, whether you start watching Stephen King's It or start watching, something a little bit more harder than that, it doesn't matter. People have got you, and I think that's something that's missing. Community is big in this particular industry.
It's so funny, isn't it? Because I certainly like the darker side of the genre as my preferred watching. I review everything, but I definitely prefer the more macabre and visceral stuff that you really shouldn't be watching without going on a list. But like, that's the kind of stuff. And then you talk to me and I'm the bubbliest, won't shut up kind of person. And you're like, there's no way. But people in that community, as you say, it's that preconception that what you're watching is who you are. And actually, no, we are sometimes the most offbeat in the best possible way people, but just talk to us. We're wonderful. We are the weirdos and we love that.
Absolutely.
And just before I hand over to the wonderful Claire, I have a personal question that I like to ask every guest that I interview. Can you give us 2 film recommendations to get to know yourself?
Wow. When the Lights Go Out, which is the story of the 30 East Drive, so it's a true story of 30 East Drive, and my absolute favourite horror flick of all time. It's a little bit, I suppose it won't be as scary as us, but Kiefer Sutherland in Lost Boys, absolutely every day of the week.
Peak cinema, right there.
Honestly,
we've got it made. Wonderful. And a killer soundtrack too. Like, you can't beat 80s horror, really.
Oh no, absolutely amazing.
So good. Oh, wonderful. Great recommendations. Thank you.
We love those questions you chuck in for the 2 films to get to know someone a bit better. Like, we've been getting suggestions as well. It's like, oh yeah. So but now we're going to take it away. Well, it's still about you, but also about us and our event, because it's what we've got you on here for. So when I reached out and I was like, oh, I'm doing this, do you want to come along? What was it that made you say yes?
I think I've said no to a few things. I think that was genuinely me sort of being, am I good enough to be there? And I guess I'll never know until I do. But obviously I know you and I know how great you are and how supportive you are, etc. And I thought, you know what, why not? And weirdly, I come and do the 2 days with yourself, and then I travel back early and jump on a plane to Malta. So it was like, do I do it or don't I do it? I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. By hook or by crook, I'm going. I'm doing it.
Well, I'm really glad that you said yes.
You're in now. I was going to say, you're in now. You're not leaving.
You're advertised. You can't go anywhere. Like, you're committed.
I am.
No. It's when I was kind of with this. It's about creating things that are a bit different and having as much variety as we could. And when I knew I wanted someone that talks about paranormal stuff, because I have met you and I kind of know you a bit already, you were the first person that come to mind, to be fair. So I'm really grateful that you said yes. So obviously we're going to have you up doing a bit of a talk, and we've got someone interviewing you for the event, and then there'll be a bit of a Q&A thing. Is there anything else that people can expect from you in September?
Well, I'm doing a few more ghost hunts. There'll be a few more news stories. I'll bring a bit of some of the more crazier equipment with me. So you get to see what I've got and what I use. Anyone brave enough that wants to have a go on the dowsing rods, but you can see what's walking around the venue if you want.
I mean, yeah.
We'll go for your best Peter Venkman life. Let's go.
Peter Venkman, he was like,
we could test and see if the hotel's haunted.
absolutely, yeah.
I'm so down for this. And it's, it's someone that knows what they're doing. So it's not like it's just me and Janine walking around and probably getting ourselves into trouble. So
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm one away from getting a proton pack. I'm ready. This conversation's got me going.
Let's do it.
She's coming in the full overalls and everything. She's like,
oh, we're renting Exo 1. We're doing it.
I'm gonna do it. I might just cosplay my whole film festival. It's fine. It's wonderful. Every new film, a new cosplay. Let's see what happens.
I'm not even sure if I was going to do cosplay, but now I'm kind of like, I want to be a ghost hunter.
Oh God, I'm terrible.
Being a ghost hunter and a vampire in one.
I'm going to be worried enough that the equipment works. I'm not cosplaying.
Yeah, that's fair. What are you most excited for coming along to the event?
I've seen some of the lineup, and just to see some of the amazing people that are going to be there, and being part of that community, and doing genuinely the biggest thing I've ever done for Dash Till Sean is really, really exciting for me, and can't thank you both enough for having me along. This little podcast runner from Doncaster is more than excited to be there.
Oh, I love that. And yeah, to be fair, we're really excited to have you as well. So, and we have a space for you so people can come along and just kind of get to know you over the weekend as well, and introduce themselves, see what stuff your equipment. I know I'll be having a nosy because I find it so fascinating.
Exactly, and it's all about building a community and strengthening those communities. You don't know who you're going to meet and what new experiences that will unlock. So that's it's really wonderful to have you part of us. Definitely.
Thank you.
So something a little bit more fun now. Not that this hasn't been fun, but just just to test your wits. We're gonna have a little quick fire round of this or that. So, ghost or demons?
Full ghost.
Yeah, obviously for you, that's a definite. A haunted house or an abandoned hospital?
Abandoned hospital.
I know the answer to this because you've done it, but Ouija board, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you still would? You're crazy.
I've never have, because I'm always like, I've seen things and I believe in things, and I'm like, you don't mess with stuff you don't understand. But obviously you understand it a lot more. But I actually have a friend, I think she may be the person that's doing your panel actually. She's a big believer in all of this. She does the boards herself and tarot and stuff. So I think you two are going to have a great chat.
We'll get on well.
Yeah, I've told her no boards with her though.
No, you never bring a board to a party unless it's invited. That's my rule.
No, we don't do that.
I'm about to be 2 days locked in a dark room with strangers. Can we not? Let's not. If there's
no, not now.
In the room. Let's not.
Just made me think of that film, where I can't remember what it's called. It's the Australian film where they hold the hand and like they let it in. Talk to me. Yeah. Just made me think of that, and it's like, yeah, you don't do that.
I mean, I'm just instantly thinking of Reagan in The Exorcist. Like that whole started with a Ouija. So people haven't learned their lesson from the 60s, 70s. Then they never learn.
Apparently, we don't. So this was a bit of yes or no, but it's quick fire. Sleep with the lights on or off?
Off.
Always off. Your favourite paranormal film?
Favourite paranormal film would be When the Lights Go Out, because it's a house I can actually visit, and it's something I can actually research on my doorstep. Nice.
And your biggest irrational fear?
Butterflies.
Oh, that's a different one.
I know, right? People get. All right, so you sit in a room with a demon. You're all right with that? Yeah, good. I think fine with that. Ghost, brilliant, fantastic. Get pushed down the stairs, not a problem, right? Nope.
Yeah.
Ouija board, great. Butterflies, don't like them.
So does that extend to moths? Because my cryptid friends would be
moths are the zombies of the butterflies, is what I call them. They're my butterfly zombies. Because where do they go? When you stand on them, they just turn to dust. Where do they go? They're like vampires.
Oh, you're talking about the ones that eat your clothes.
They eat everything.
Mothman. I'm talking like cryptids.
Yeah.
Oh, the Mothman. I'd be okay with the Mothman because we'll be good with him. I don't think I could step on him. I think he might have the advantage.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting away with that one.
Yeah.
And to just finish it off, because we like to get another little question in there. If you had to spend one night anywhere in the world for a haunted location, where would you pick?
Dracula's castle.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? We were watching something before this, me and hubby, and we were talking. It was all in Transylvania and stuff, and it was about Vlad the Impaler, and it was like it's one of the places I've always wanted to go.
Yeah,
Kind of explore a bit more.
absolutely. They do a tour there, but I'd like to go on my own and just do it on my own, and just that sort of thing. Because take away the vampire side of everything. It was a bit of a naughty man, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean?
It was full on.
It was a bit of a guy. So I'd like to find out. There's definitely some residual sort of energy there that I think you could get into. So yeah, definitely Dracula's Castle.
But if they ever let you there, like record it and bring it back to us, because
I will do.
That would be pretty epic to see. So. But yeah, that is all we have for you right now until September, when we will have more. So thank you so much for your time this evening, for coming and joining us in September. We are incredibly grateful. You're making my crazy little brain ideas grow, and I love it.
Bless you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy. Thank you.
See you later.
Thanks for opening my world to the crazy paranormal as well, because
You're welcome.
it's one thing to watch the ones that are scripted and carefully edited, but it's another to speak to somebody who's experienced it. So
exactly, it's exciting when the doors open on their own.
Yeah, no, that's giving me the heebie-jeebies. I'm not going to lie.
Right, this bit has to stay in for the editing now. For sure.
Fine. That's what it's there for. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.